It's time for Speaking of Speaking. Quick tips and tools to take you from stage fright to spotlight. This podcast gives you an inside look from the world of public speaking and speaking secrets you need to be bold from the stage, no matter what business you're in. The host of Speaking, Carl Richards.
Thank you very much, Matt. Episode 9 of Speaking of Speaking. Today we are talking about 5 easy ways to become a better public speaker fast. And the reason why I say fast is there are a lot of people who overcomplicate the public speaking world. And I have to admit, I was one of them way back when. In episode 1, I told you about overcoming speaking anxiety, how it was a real thing for me, how I stuttered when I was a kid. That was only one way that I complicated it when I was younger. And I continued to overcomplicate it when I got into the speaking world, when I got in, when I became a broadcaster. I don't know. There's something about wanting to perfect speaking. There's something about wanting to be perfect about everything that you do in the speaking world. Speaking by design is not meant to be perfect. If speaking was perfect, none of us would do it because none of us would be able to do it because we would all be stammering and stuttering because we'd constantly be trying to correct ourselves and make things 100% perfect all the time. So that's why speaking isn't about being perfect. It's also not about waiting for the right time to become a better public speaker. It's about doing it now. It's about doing it while the iron is hot, striking while the iron is hot, not waiting for the ideal moment. It's sort of like if you've ever had the opportunity to write a book. I've written a chapter in a book that's published, and I have my own book I'm working on right now. And one of the things that I thought when I first started this writing process was that, I didn't have to write every day. I just had to wait for the inspirational moments, and those are the moments when I would write. No, you actually have to just do it. You have to decide you're going to do it, but not only decide you're going to do it, you have to schedule time to do it. It's a process, same as becoming a better public speaker. But I'm going to share with you today the 5 easy ways to become a better public speaker fast. Not this waiting stuff. Actually get some results quickly and start to see success from your speaking. Number 1 is memorize concepts, not content. Huge misconception in the speaker training world is you have to memorize your content. It's not about memorization. Speaking was never meant to be about memorizing. Speaking is about internalization, not memorization. But if you memorize concepts and ideas and not your content, guess where you'll be speaking from? You'll be speaking from the heart every single time you speak. All right? So memorize concepts, not your content. Have a flow. Have a template, know point A to point B, know where you're starting, obviously know your information, but make sure you're memorizing your concepts and speaking from the heart and speaking to inform and speaking as a transference of emotion because that's what it is. Second thing is to chat up your audience members before your presentation. This will not only help to position yourself as an expert and support your credibility, but it will also support your humanity. Because when you shake hands with people as they're coming in the door and thank them for being there, firstly, they're already thanking you. They appreciate the fact that you'll be speaking with them today. But if you shake their hand and you thank them, there's something about the power or the magic of the touch from the hand, from a simple handshake, and how it affects how our monkey brains work. There's something about that human connection. That human connection is what will continue to build trust because people will not buy from you if they don't trust you. Think about it logically. If I'm a person who sells used cars and you're a person who sells used cars and you shake people's hands and you are genuinely interested in every single thing they do in their lives, and I sort of slough it off and I just sell people based on the price, who do you think is going to sell more cars? Me or you? Even if your cars are more expensive, I'll almost guarantee you, you will sell more cars because you are creating a human connection. You are creating that human connection and positioning yourself as an expert and also solidifying your credibility. So chat up audience members before your presentation to make the human connection. Number 3, remember, you are the presentation. Visual aids, audio, PowerPoint, those are not the presentation. However, you can use visual aids, whether they're your PowerPoint slides or whether it's audio clips, whatever it is. You can use those things to enhance your presentation. Just make sure they don't become your presentation. I have seen people give full day workshops and not be able to step away from their PowerPoint slides. That's unfortunate, because remember the thing you did in number 2, chatting up the audience, positioning yourself as an expert, creating that human connection, and solidifying your credibility? That sometimes goes out the window if you then hide behind your PowerPoint deck or hide behind your visuals. As a matter of fact, in a lot of cases now, I don't even use a PowerPoint deck. I will from time to time if I'm in a larger room and I need the PowerPoint deck, because sometimes a flip chart is just too small to have people at the back of the room see it. But quite often, if it's a workshop and it's a room of 20 people, I won't use PowerPoint. I will use a flip chart, or I will use a whiteboard, because it's easier and it connects more. It also frees me up to not be chained to technology, which is a good thing. As we found out in episode 7, there are great things about technology that'll help your speaking. But what happens if the technology isn't there for you? Or what happens if you hide behind the technology? If you hide behind the technology or rely too much on it, it can push your audience away, especially if you now cannot finish your presentation because the technology has failed you for whatever reason. Maybe there was a power outage. And I know a lot of people who cannot present without their slide deck. And if there's a power outage or if there's some type of failure in the technology, they cannot present. So use those visuals and those audio and the technology to enhance your presentation, but make sure it isn't your presentation. Make sure you are still the person who's driving the content of your presentation. Number 4 of the 5 easy ways to become a better public speaker: fast. Flip your mindset to ease your nerves. I say this because public speaking is not a natural thing for most people. A lot of people are deathly afraid to get in front of an audience. Even if it's a small audience of 10 people, it's that standing at the front of the room and being in that vulnerable place that puts so much fear into us. You have to flip that mindset. You have to turn it around. Instead of saying something like, "Oh my goodness, I hope I don't screw up today. I hope they're not looking at me, wondering if I'm looking okay. Is my shirt clean? Am I wearing the right coat?" Whatever it is there something on my face? All of those things that will help to make you even more nervous. You want to flip your mindset 180 degrees and think of all the positive things you're going to bring to your presentation, the things you're going to bring to the stage. And I like to do positive affirmations. Affirmations alone do not work, but they do help to put you in the right headspace and raise your confidence. And I will repeat over and over again things like, "I have value. I am an expert. People need what I have. I am professional. I have value." I keep repeating those things over and over and over again until my monkey brain agrees with me, because it is true. We are very primitive in our thinking. For advanced as we are as a species, we still have those monkey brains. We still have the monkey brain in us that feeds us the wrong information. And there's ways around that. So flip your mindset. Turn the frown upside down, as has been said many times. Accentuate the positive. Think of all the positive reasons why you are there, because it'll help you if you come across as being a confident speaker and you have all the other things I've talked about. You're not hiding behind your PowerPoint, or you're not hiding behind your visual aids. You're meeting your audience before you get on stage. You're sharing from the heart, and you're not memorizing content. You're memorizing concepts, and you're transferring emotion. Then that makes it even easier, especially if you're confident, to land potential clients, to help people get to the point where they need to be able to say, "Yes, I need what you have. I need your help. I need your product. I need your services," whatever it is that you do. But you have to flip that mindset, and you have to think the most positive things you can. You have to think those happy thoughts and keep those happy visuals in your brain, even when it feels like you're going to die on stage. Even if you think you're going to be eaten by a shark, you're not, honest. It's never happened on stage that I'm aware of. So allow yourself to flip that mindset, ease your nerves, and wow your audience. And number 5, get interactive. Get interactive. I mean, get interactive while you're speaking. All too often what happens when people get on stage is they forget that they're not speaking to the audience. They're just having a conversation with the audience. Can you imagine having a conversation with somebody at your kitchen table or in your living room where all you did was talk and talk and talk and didn't every now and again say, what do you think of that? What are your thoughts? Has this ever happened to you? Can you imagine how it would feel, how awkward it would be if you were having a conversation with someone in their living room and they didn't give you an opportunity to even voice your opinion, to jump in, to say anything? The interesting thing about speaking on stage, or even speaking on some of the virtual platforms I mentioned in episode 7, is that you still need to remember the audience is there and they want you to have a conversation with them. And you want to have a conversation with them. That's when you will connect with them the most, is when you are having a conversation with them. Firstly, you'll automatically learn that speaking is all about having a conversation. So your speeches won't be, quote, speeches anymore. They won't be these formal dissertations with big, long words. You'll all of a sudden start having conversations with people, and you know what? You will connect every single time. But you have to get interactive. One of the easiest ways to get interactive is start asking questions. Ask questions of your audience. Show of hands if this has happened to you. That's a great way to interact with your audience. Doesn't matter whether it's a virtual audience or a live audience where you're on stage. Interact with them. Connect with them. And if people are interacting with you, take it to the next step. Has this ever happened to you? Cite the incident or tell me what that felt like when that happened. Point somebody out. Really get into their hearts and minds. Develop that trust. Continue to build that relationship, because this is all about relationship marketing. That's what speaking is. It's all about relationship marketing. And it's not something I want to dive into on this particular podcast, but it's something that really is what is going to connect you to more people and have you making more money. The people who connect on an emotional level by interacting, by being honest, by, having the best mindset, by chatting people up, by having conversations with them, even if you're on stage, those are the people who are going to win every single time they speak. One of my favorite speakers is a guy by the name of Mike Lipkin. And Mike has this really powerful voice, but he also has some fantastic ideas. And every time he speaks like you're there with him. He speaks like you're the other side of the computer screen if you're watching one of his videos. When he's on stage, he talks to you, not at you. He asks you questions. He asks you to think. He engages your mind while he's engaging you in conversation. That's when you know you've won, and that's when you know you are now an expert who speaks. Not an expert speaker, but an expert who speaks. When you connect because you've gotten interactive. So just to recap those 5 things, 5 easy ways to become a better public speaker. Fast, memorize concepts, not content. It's a transference of emotion, not a transference or a memorization of content. Chat up your audience beforehand. Start to build that relationship early. Enhance your visuals and audio, and try to limit the amount of PowerPoint that you do have. Make sure you are still the presentation. Flip your mindset. Ease your nerves. Use positive messaging that will help you do that. And get interactive with your audience. Some other things, too, to add to that. You can tell stories, have a conversation with your audience, make your message relatable. All of those things will help you 100% win your audience over every single time. If you ever have a question, drop me a note. Ask Carl at carlspeaks.ca. I still have some tickets available, by the way, for my event on March the 8th. Be bold from the stage. It's our winter speaking showcase. If you like TED Talks, you are going to love this event. Diana and I were talking about it yesterday, some of the great things we'll be doing. We have some special guests. We have world-class entertainer and performer and speaker Keith Brown, who will be there. Dana Ferrant, who's a badass business coach. She's whipped my business button to shape many times. She's going to be there. Diana Lidstone will be there. Peter Norman from the ADB Group will be there. We want you there as well in the audience to not only cheer on our speakers who will be speaking that day, but also to get interactive, get involved, and maybe get on the stage if it's the time for you. Until next time, it's Carl Richards. Get out there and own the platform.
Thanks for listening to the Speaking of Speaking podcast. Fired up about something you heard today? Want to learn more? Be sure to visit carlspeaks.ca. And don't forget to follow Carl on Twitter @CarlRichards72 or join the Facebook group Speaking of Speaking.